I want to tell you about the day I stopped being a victim. It started with fingerprint-shaped bruises on my wrist, a billionaire who refused to look away, and a decision that would either save my life or end it. By the end of this story, you'll understand why sometimes the most dangerous man in the room is exactly who you need. Stay with me. This one's going to break your heart before it heals it. Welcome to Voice of Granny. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you're watching from. Let me tell you a story about the day everything changed. It was an ordinary Tuesday night at Moonlight Restaurant, one of the fanciest places in Chicago. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, soft piano music filled the air, and powerful people sat at every table. I was just a waitress there, trying to stay invisible, trying to survive. My name is Sophie, and 3 weeks earlier, I'd walked through those restaurant doors desperate for a job, any job that would help me disappear. I was running from someone who wore expensive suits and smiled for cameras. Someone everyone respected. Someone who had spent 2 years teaching me that love and pain could exist in the same breath. That Tuesday night, I was serving wine to the owner's table. His name was Dominic Sterling. Everyone knew who he was, a billionaire who owned half of Chicago. Hotels, restaurants, real estate companies. He had dark eyes that seemed to see everything, and a reputation that made people nervous. Some said he was ruthless in business. Others whispered he had connections that went beyond legal. But in the 3 weeks I'd worked there, he'd never been anything but professional to me. Until that night, I reached across the table to pour his wine, and my sleeve slipped. Just 2 inches. That's all it took. The bruises on my wrist were exposed, dark purple marks shaped like fingers. For distinct prints where someone had grabbed me hard enough to leave their signature on my skin. I saw Dominic's eyes lock onto those bruises. Everything stopped. The conversation at his table died. His business partner stopped talking mid-sentence. And Dominic just stared at my wrist like he was memorizing every mark. My heart pounded. I yanked my sleeve down so fast I spilled wine across the white tablecloth. "I'm so sorry," I stammered. "I'll get a cloth. I'm so clumsy, Sit down." His voice was quiet. Deadly quiet. "Mr. Sterling, I should really clean this up." I wasn't asking, Sophie. The way he said my name made me freeze. There was something in his tone I'd never heard before. Not anger. Something else. Something that sounded almost like concern. I sat. My hands were shaking. Around us, the restaurant continued its elegant dance. People eating, laughing, living their normal lives. But at our table, time had stopped. Dominic leaned forward. His eyes never left mine. "Show me the other wrist." "It's nothing. I fell." "You didn't fall." His voice was still quiet, but now it carried an edge. "Someone grabbed you. Hard. Multiple times, judging by the different colors of those bruises. So let's skip the part where you lie to me, because I've built an empire on reading people, and right now you're telling me a story I don't believe." Tears burned behind my eyes. I wanted to run. I wanted to disappear into the kitchen and never come back. But something in his eyes held me there. Not force. Not demand. Just attention. Like I mattered. "Why do you care?" The question came out broken. "Because for 3 weeks, you've been working here with fire in your eyes. You laughed with the kitchen staff. You had opinions about wine pairings. You had life in you." He paused. "And then 1 week ago, that fire went out. You started wearing long sleeves in a hot kitchen. You flinched when anyone raised their voice. You stopped laughing." His jaw tightened. "Someone took that light from you, and I want to know who." I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. This powerful man, this billionaire who could buy anything, was sitting here talking about the light in my eyes like it mattered. "His name is Tyler," I whispered finally. "Tyler Blackwood." Dominic's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "Recognition." "The lawyer," he said flatly. "The Blackwood family law firm." I nodded. Everyone in Chicago knew the Blackwoods. They were legal royalty. Tyler's grandfather had founded the firm 50 years ago. His father was a senior partner. Tyler himself was being groomed to take over one day. They represented politicians, celebrities, corporations. They were untouchable. "We were together for 2 years, I continued, the words spilling out now. "At first, he was perfect. Charming, attentive, generous. He made me feel special, like I was the only person in the world. I laughed bitterly. Then I moved in with him. That's when everything changed. Dominic said nothing, just listened. And somehow, that silence gave me permission to keep talking. The first time he hit me, he cried afterward. Said he was stressed about a case. Promised it would never happen again. I believed him. My voice cracked. The second time, he said I'd provoked him. That if I just learned to stay quiet, to not upset him, everything would be fine. And I tried. I tried so hard to be what he wanted. How did you get away? Dominic's voice was gentle now. I didn't exactly. He's been looking for me. That's why I applied here. Your restaurant has a reputation for protecting its staff. I thought maybe. I trailed off. Last week, he found my sister's address. He's been calling. Showing up at night. Watching. Waiting. I pulled up my other sleeve, showing Dominic the matching bruises on my left wrist. These are from 2 days ago. He cornered me outside my sister's building. Said if I didn't come back, he'd make sure everyone knew I was unstable. That I'd never work anywhere respectable again. That his family would destroy me. And you believe him. His family has done it before. The words tasted like ash. I tried to file a restraining order 6 months ago. Tyler showed up to court with 3 lawyers. They had character witnesses. They made me sound crazy, desperate, vindictive. The judge denied my request. I met Dominic's eyes. The system protects people like Tyler. And people like me? We just survive however we can. The silence that followed was heavy. I watched emotions cross Dominic's face. Anger, disgust, something that looked almost like pain. Finally, he spoke. I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone who works for me. His voice was low, intimate. When I was 15, my mother tried to leave my father. He was powerful, connected, untouchable. She filed for divorce. 2 weeks later, she disappeared. They never found her body. My breath caught. I spent the next 15 years building enough power to make sure no one in my family would ever be that helpless again. His eyes locked onto mine with fierce intensity. So when I see a woman with bruises shaped like fingerprints, when I see that fear in her eyes, the same fear I saw in my mother's, I don't walk away. I can't, because walking away means I'm no better than everyone who let my mother suffer. What are you saying? I whispered. Dominic stood, buttoning his jacket with deliberate precision. I'm saying Tyler Blackwood just made a very serious mistake. He put his hands on someone I've decided to protect. And unlike the system that failed you, I don't play by rules that let predators hide behind family names and expensive lawyers. You can't, he'll destroy you. His family has connections everywhere. Sophie, he looked down at me, and for the first time, I saw the full force of what made Dominic Sterling feared across the city. Not cruelty, not violence, but absolute, unshakable certainty. I have more money than his family will see in 3 generations. I have connections they can't imagine. And most importantly, I have something Tyler Blackwood has never faced in his privileged life. What's that? His smile was cold and devastating. Consequences. I want you to understand something about the next few days. They didn't feel real. It was like watching a movie about someone else's life, except I was standing in the center of it, and everything was moving so fast I could barely keep up. The morning after I told Dominic about Tyler, I came to work and found a phone on my locker. A simple smartphone with 3 numbers programmed in. One was labeled Dominic. One said James. That was Dominic's head of security. And the third said Detective Wilson. Apparently one of the few honest cops in Chicago. There was a note attached in Dominic's handwriting. You're not alone anymore. Use these if you need anything. D. I stared at that phone for 10 minutes, crying in the staff bathroom, because I couldn't remember the last time someone had cared whether I felt safe. James found me before my shift started. He was ex-military, tall and serious, with kind eyes that had seen too much. Miss Sophie, he said gently, Mr. Sterling has asked me to coordinate your security. We've placed cameras around your sister's building. We have people watching Tyler Blackwood's movements. If he comes within 100 yards of you, we'll know. Why is Dominic doing this? I asked. I'm nobody. I'm just a waitress. You're someone who deserves to be safe, James interrupted firmly. That's all that matters to him. That's all that should matter. While I tried to process this new reality, Dominic was already moving. I didn't know it then, but he'd made calls that very night. Not to threaten anyone. Dominic was too smart for that. No, he called in favors from people who specialized in finding the truth. Within 48 hours, his investigator, a woman named Isabella who could hack into anything, had uncovered Tyler's secrets. And Tyler Blackwood had a lot of secrets. Dominic called me to his office on Thursday evening. It overlooked the Chicago River, floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city lights like scattered diamonds. He was standing by those windows when I entered, hands in his pockets, looking every inch the powerful man he was. "Sit down, Sophie," he said quietly. "There are things you need to know." I sat, my heart pounding. He turned to face me, and his expression was carved from stone. "Tyler Blackwood has hurt at least 6 other women before you. 6 that we've found so far. Each one followed the same pattern: charm, isolation, abuse, threats. Each one tried to report him. And each time, the Blackwood family made it disappear." My stomach twisted. 6. One woman ended up in the hospital with a concussion. The Blackwoods paid her medical bills and had her sign a non-disclosure agreement. Another filed charges. Those charges were dropped after Tyler's father had a private conversation with the district attorney. Another got a restraining order. It was overturned on appeal by a judge who happens to golf with Tyler's grandfather. Dominic's voice was cold, factual. "The system hasn't failed you, Sophie. The system was designed to protect men like Tyler." "Why are you telling me this?" I whispered. "Because I'm going to destroy him. Simple. Direct. Absolute. But I need you to understand what that means. When I move against the Blackwoods, they're going to fight back hard. They're going to try to discredit you, intimidate you, make you regret ever speaking up. I need to know you're ready for that fight." I thought about those 6 other women. 6 lives damaged. 6 voices silenced. How many more would there be if someone didn't stop him? "What do you need me to do?" I asked. Dominic's expression softened slightly. "Right now? Nothing. Let me handle the first move. But soon, I'm going to ask you to be brave one more time. To tell your story publicly. To stand with those other women and show Chicago who Tyler Blackwood really is." "I'm terrified," I admitted. "I know." He moved closer, crouching down so we were eye level. "But Sophie, fear is what men like Tyler count on. They rely on victims staying silent, staying scared, staying convinced they're alone. I'm offering you something different. Protection. Support. And the satisfaction of watching Tyler face real consequences for the first time in his privileged life." I looked into his eyes and saw something I hadn't expected. Not just determination. Not just anger on my behalf. But something deeper. Something personal. "You really care about this," I said softly. "This isn't just business for you." "No," he admitted. "It stopped being business the moment I saw those bruises and wanted to break things. When I started planning Tyler's destruction not because of strategy, but because he hurt you, and that made me irrationally, dangerously angry. The confession hung between us. My boss, this billionaire, admitting he cared about me in a way that went beyond employer and employee. "I don't know how to trust this," I whispered. "How to trust you? Every instinct says powerful men hurt." "I know," Dominic said gently. "So don't trust me yet. Just let me prove it. Let me show you that power can protect instead of destroy. That not every strong man wants to cage you." That night, the first article appeared online. A legal blog known for investigating corruption published a piece titled, "Questions Surround Blackwood Family Law Firm. Pattern of Dismissed Abuse Cases Raises Concerns." It didn't name Tyler specifically. Not yet, but it laid out the pattern. 6 cases over 10 years. All involving the same family. All mysteriously resolved without trial. All victims who suddenly stopped cooperating with police. By morning, 3 major Chicago news outlets had picked up the story. By afternoon, Tyler's father was giving interviews, calling it a smear campaign by competitors. By evening, 2 of the 6 women had come forward publicly, adding their names to the allegations. Tyler called me that night. I don't know how he got my new number, probably his family's investigators. My hands shook when I saw "unknown caller" on the screen. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Maybe I needed to hear his voice. To remind myself why I was doing this. "Sophie." His voice was smooth, controlled. "I've been worried about you. This is all getting out of hand. These lies people are spreading. They're not lies, Tyler." Silence. Then his tone changed. Colder. "You need to stop this. Right now. Whatever game you're playing with these women, whatever you think you'll accomplish. I'm not playing a game. I'm telling the truth." "The truth?" He laughed, sharp and cruel. "Your truth against my family's reputation? Against our lawyers, our connections, our resources? Sophie, you're going to lose. And when you do, when this all falls apart, you'll have nothing. No job, no credibility, no future. Is that what you want?" Before I could answer, the phone was gently taken from my hand. Dominic had appeared beside me, I hadn't even heard him approach. He put the phone on speaker. "Tyler Blackwood," Dominic said calmly. "This is Dominic Sterling. I believe you've been looking for Sophie. Well, you found her. She's under my protection now." Tyler's voice went tight. "This doesn't concern you, Sterling. It concerns me when a coward terrorizes women and hides behind his family name." Dominic's voice was pleasant, almost friendly. "Here's what's going to happen. Every abuse case your family has buried is about to become very public. Every payoff, every threat, every judge you've bought, it's all coming out. And Sophie? She's going to testify against you, along with 6 other women whose voices you tried to silence. You're making a serious mistake. No, Tyler. You made the mistake. You put your hands on someone I've decided to protect. And now you're going to learn what it feels like when someone with actual power decides you're not worth protecting anymore." Dominic ended the call, set the phone down, looked at me with concern. "Are you okay?" I was shaking, but not from fear. From something else. Relief, maybe. Or the first stirrings of hope. "He's going to come after me harder now," I said. "Let him try." Dominic's voice was steel wrapped in silk. "I have 20 people between him and you. He'd have to go through all of them to reach you. And Sophie." His eyes met mine. "I promise you, he won't get the chance." The next week felt like living in the eye of a hurricane. All around me, chaos swirled. News stories, legal battles, public accusations. But in the center, where Dominic had placed me, there was strange calm. His penthouse apartment, where he'd moved me for safety, was like a fortress. Beautiful, comfortable, secure. But Tyler was escalating. The calls started coming to my sister's phone. Hang-ups mostly. Sometimes just breathing. Once, Tyler's voice saying, "Tell Sophie I'm coming for her." Rachel, my sister, was terrified. Dominic moved her into his building too, gave her own apartment 2 floors down from mine. But the fear was taking its toll on both of us. "I don't understand," Rachel said one night over dinner in my temporary home. "Why is Dominic doing all this? What does he get out of protecting us?" I'd been asking myself the same question. The truth was complicated. In the 2 weeks since I'd told Dominic about Tyler, something had shifted between us. The way he looked at me had changed. Softer. More intense. Like I was something precious he was afraid to break, but desperate to hold. And I was falling for him. Which was insane. Which was probably trauma bonding or rescue fantasy, or any number of psychological explanations. But when Dominic walked into a room, my heart raced. When he smiled at me, those rare, genuine smiles, I felt warm for the first time in years. "I think," I said carefully to Rachel, "he sees something in me that reminds him of his mother. Someone who needed saving but didn't get it. Maybe helping me is his way of making peace with that." "Or maybe," Rachel said gently, "he's falling for you the same way you're falling for him." I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't. That night, Dominic asked me to come to his office. When I arrived, he had news. "Senator Patricia Morrison is holding a press conference tomorrow," he said. "She's announcing an investigation into the Blackwood law firm. 3 state representatives are backing her. The Illinois Bar Association has opened an ethics inquiry." "That's good, right?" I asked. "It's very good. Tyler's father has already started distancing himself publicly, claiming ignorance of his son's actions." Dominic paused. "But Sophie, there's something else. 5 more women have come forward. Women Tyler hurt years ago. They're willing to testify, but they want to know you're standing with them." My breath caught. "They want me to go public." "Yes. Tomorrow at the press conference. You'd stand with Senator Morrison and the other women. Tell your story. Put a face to these allegations." His voice was gentle. "I know I said I'd handle this for you. But the truth is, your voice matters more than mine. The public needs to hear from someone Tyler actually hurt, not just from lawyers and politicians." "I'm terrified," I whispered. "I know." Dominic crossed to where I sat, knelt down in front of me. "But I'll be right there. Not on camera. That would complicate things. But in the room. Watching. Ready to pull you out the second it becomes too much." I looked at this man who'd risked his reputation, his business relationships, his carefully constructed world to protect me. And I realized something. "Okay," I said. "I'll do it." His smile was beautiful. Proud. "That's my brave girl." The words sent warmth through my chest. His girl. When had that happened? When had I become his? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept imagining tomorrow. Cameras, questions, Tyler watching from somewhere, judging me, hating me. Around 2 a.m., I gave up and went to the kitchen for tea. Dominic was already there, standing by the window with a glass of whiskey, looking out over the glittering city. "Can't sleep either?" I asked softly. He turned, surprised. "I didn't mean to wake you." "You didn't." "My brain won't shut off." I moved beside him, looking out at Chicago. "It's beautiful from up here. Peaceful." "It's a lie," Dominic said quietly. "All those lights, all that beauty. Underneath, the city is full of Tyler Blackwoods. Men who hurt people and face no consequences. Systems that protect the powerful and abandon the vulnerable." He took a sip of whiskey. "Sometimes I wonder if anything I do actually matters. If I'm just putting band-aids on wounds that will never heal." I'd never heard him sound uncertain before. "Vulnerable. You mattered to me," I said. "When everyone else walked away, when the police couldn't help, when the courts failed me, you stepped in. You used your power to protect instead of hurt. That matters, Dominic. That changes everything." He looked at me then, really looked at me, and something in his expression made my heart race. "Sophie," he said carefully, "I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me. This," he gestured between us, "whatever this is becoming, it's not just about protection anymore. I've crossed a line I swore I'd never cross with someone I'm protecting." "What line?" I whispered, though I knew. God, I knew. "I'm falling for you." The words were raw, honest. "I lie awake thinking about you. I check my phone constantly to make sure you're safe. When I see you smile, actually smile without fear behind it, I feel like I've accomplished something more important than any business deal I've ever made." He set down his glass. "And that terrifies me, because the last thing you need is another powerful man trying to claim you." "You're nothing like Tyler," I said firmly. "I'm exactly like him in the ways that matter. I'm used to control. I'm possessive. When I want something, I take it." His voice dropped. "And I want you, Sophie. Not just to protect. Not just to save. I want you in my life, in my home, in my bed. I want to wake up knowing you're safe because you're beside me. And that kind of wanting, it's dangerous for someone who's just escaped a man who wanted to own her." My breath caught. Every word he said should have terrified me. Should have sent me running. But instead, what if I want that too? I whispered. Dominic went very still. "What?" "I know it's probably unhealthy. I know a therapist would say I'm substituting one powerful man for another. But Dominic," I turned to face him fully. "Tyler made me feel small. Broken. Worthless. You make me feel seen. Protected. Like I matter." Tears slipped down my cheeks. "So yes, maybe I'm falling for my rescuer. Maybe that's not the smart choice. But you're the first person in years who's made me feel like I'm worth rescuing." He cupped my face with both hands, thumbs brushing away tears. "You were always worth it, Sophie. You were never broken. You were surviving. And survivors," his voice turned fierce, "survivors are the strongest people I know." "Then prove it," I said, surprising myself with my boldness. "Kiss me. Show me that wanting someone doesn't have to come with pain." For a moment, he hesitated. I could see the war in his eyes, wanting to protect me, even from himself. Then something shifted. Decision made. He kissed me. It was nothing like Tyler's kisses, which had always been about possession and control. Dominic kissed me like I was precious, like he had all the time in the world, like my consent and comfort mattered more than his desire. When we finally pulled apart, I was breathless. "I'm still broken," I whispered against his lips. "I still have nightmares. I still flinch at loud noises. I don't know if I'll ever be normal again." "Then we'll be broken together," Dominic murmured. "Because, Sophie, I've been broken since I was 15 years old. I just learned to hide it behind money and power. Maybe we can figure out how to heal together. Slowly, carefully, at whatever pace you need." I kissed him again, putting all my fear and hope and desperate wanting into it. Outside, the city glittered with its beautiful lies. But in that moment, held by a man who saw my scars and called me strong, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Safe. Tomorrow I would face cameras and questions. Tomorrow I would tell the world what Tyler had done. Tomorrow would be hard. But tonight, I was exactly where I needed to be. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. at City Hall. Senator Morrison stood at the podium, flanked by 6 women, now including me. We held hands in a line, a united front against everything the Blackwood family represented. I wore a blue dress Dominic had bought me. Simple, professional, nothing that could be used to question my credibility. My bruises had faded, but makeup couldn't quite hide the shadows under my eyes from weeks of fear. Dominic wasn't in the room. We'd agreed it would complicate things, give Tyler's lawyers ammunition about ulterior motives. But I knew he was watching from somewhere, ready to appear the moment I needed him. Senator Morrison spoke first, outlining the investigation into the Blackwood firm. Then, one by one, the women told their stories. Each one was heartbreaking. Each one followed the same pattern: charm, isolation, violence, threats. When my turn came, my voice shook. But I made myself speak. My name is Sophie Laurent. For 2 years, I was in a relationship with Tyler Blackwood. He hurt me. He threatened me. And when I tried to leave, he stalked me. Made me afraid to exist in my own city. I looked directly at the cameras. But I'm not afraid anymore. Because I've learned that silence protects abusers. Speaking up protects victims. And if my story can help even one woman realize she's not alone, then every terrifying moment of going public is worth it. The room erupted with questions from reporters. Senator Morrison fielded most of them, but several were directed at me. About my relationship with Tyler. About why I didn't leave sooner. About whether I had proof. I answered what I could, my voice growing stronger with each question. This was my truth. And Tyler Blackwood didn't get to silence me anymore. After the conference, James, Dominic's head of security, escorted all of us to separate cars. The plan was to keep us safe while public opinion turned against the Blackwoods. But Tyler had other plans. That night, I was back in Dominic's penthouse when my phone rang. The one Dominic had given me, with only 3 numbers programmed in. The screen showed unknown caller. My blood went cold. I answered, hands shaking. Hello. Hello, Sophie. Tyler's voice was calm. Too calm. That was quite a performance today. Very dramatic. Very convincing. The problem is, I don't take well to being humiliated. Tyler, don't. I'm outside your sister's building right now, he continued pleasantly. Well, her old building. I know she's not here. Dominic Sterling moved both of you somewhere safe, didn't he? Very noble. Very protective. He laughed, sharp and cruel. But he can't protect everyone, Sophie. You have friends, co-workers, people you care about. And I have time, resources, and absolutely nothing left to lose. Terror flooded through me. If you hurt anyone, then what? You'll call the police? We both know how well that worked last time. His voice turned cold. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to recant everything you said today. Tell the press you lied. That you were manipulated by Sterling. That you wanted revenge after a bad breakup. Do that, and I'll leave everyone you care about alone. I won't, I said, surprised by the strength in my voice. I'm done letting you control me, Tyler. Then I'm coming for you. The threat was simple. Direct. And when I find you, and I will find you, you're going to remember exactly why you were afraid of me. The call ended. I stood frozen, phone in hand, Tyler's threat echoing in my head. I should call James. Call Detective Wilson. But my hands wouldn't move. The penthouse door opened. Dominic appeared, clearly coming from a late meeting, still in his suit. He took one look at my face and crossed the room in 3 strides. What happened? Tyler called. He threatened. My voice broke. He said he's coming for me. That I have to recant everything or he'll hurt people I care about. Dominic's expression went cold and deadly. Did he say where he was? Outside Rachel's old building. But Dominic, he knows she's not there. He knows you moved us. He's hunting. I know. Dominic pulled out his phone, called James. Tyler Blackwood just made a direct threat against Sophie. I want double security on everyone associated with her. And I want to know his exact location. Now. While he coordinated security, I sank onto the couch, shaking. This was my fault. I'd gone public, and now Tyler was going to hurt innocent people to punish me. Dominic finished his call and came to sit beside me. Sophie, look at me. I did. His eyes were steady, certain anchoring. Tyler is desperate, Dominic said. He's lost his career, his reputation, his father's respect. Threats are all he has left. But threats only work if we let them control us. Are you going to let him silence you again? No, I whispered. But I can't let him hurt people because of me. He won't. Dominic's voice was absolute. I have people protecting everyone in your life. Your sister, your co-workers, your friends. Tyler would have to go through 20 of my security team to reach any of them. And Sophie, he cupped my face gently. If he tries, I will make sure it's the last mistake he ever makes. There was something in his tone. Something final and frightening and oddly comforting. You'd really go that far for me? I asked. I'd burn the entire city down if it meant keeping you safe. He said it like a simple fact. Tyler thinks power means getting away with hurting people. I'm going to teach him that real power means protecting them, no matter the cost. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around midnight, alarms started blaring. Not in the penthouse, outside. In the building's security system. Dominic was up immediately, phone to his ear. Talk to me. I heard James's voice through the speaker, tense and urgent. Tyler Blackwood just tried to access the building through the parking garage. We stopped him, but he's not alone. He brought 3 men with him. They're armed. My blood turned to ice. He's here. He actually came here. Stay calm. Dominic's voice was steel. He turned to James. Lock down the building. Call the police. Get Detective Wilson here specifically. She'll make sure this is handled right. And James, a pause. Use whatever force is necessary to keep him away from this floor. Understood, boss. The next 20 minutes were the longest of my life. I could hear shouting from somewhere below. Footsteps in the stairwell. Dominic kept me behind him, positioned between me and the door, his own gun drawn. You keep a gun? I asked, stunned. I keep many things people don't know about. His eyes never left the door. Being rich doesn't mean being stupid, Sophie. Tyler isn't the first person who's wanted to hurt me or mine. More shouting. Then a gunshot, distant but unmistakable. My hand flew to my mouth. Someone's shooting. My men are trained, Dominic said calmly. Tyler and his friends aren't. Trust me. 5 minutes later, James called. We have them contained in the parking garage. Tyler fired first. We have it on camera. My team returned fire. One of Tyler's men is injured, but he'll live. The police just arrived. Detective Wilson is taking Tyler into custody. Relief flooded through me so intensely I thought I might collapse. It's over, Dominic said, lowering his gun. Tyler just committed multiple felonies in front of cameras, witnesses, and police. There's no lawyer good enough to get him out of this. But I knew Tyler. Knew how he thought. He'll claim he was defending himself, I said quietly. He'll say he was afraid for his life, that your security team attacked him. Sophie. Dominic turned to me, his expression intense. Tyler brought armed men to a residential building, fired a weapon in a confined space, and explicitly threatened you on a recorded phone line. His father can't make this disappear. His lawyers can't spin this. He's going to prison. Actually, genuinely going to prison. I wanted to believe him. But 3 years of fear don't disappear in a moment. What if he gets bail? What if he comes back? Then I'll be here. Dominic's hands framed my face. Every time. Forever. Until you believe you're safe. Until the fear finally lets go. I'm not going anywhere, Sophie. And looking into his eyes, I finally let myself believe it. Tyler Blackwood's reign of terror was over. Not because the system finally worked, but because someone with actual power decided I was worth protecting. 3 months later, I stood in a courtroom watching Tyler Blackwood be sentenced to 8 years in prison. 8 years for assault, stalking, witness intimidation, and illegal weapons charges. His father sat in the gallery, stone-faced. The mighty Blackwood law firm was under investigation, several partners facing disbarment. The empire they'd built on protecting abusers was crumbling. Tyler looked at me once as they led him away. Not with rage or hatred. With something worse. Emptiness. Like he still couldn't understand why his actions had consequences. I felt nothing looking at him. Not satisfaction. Not pity. Just relief. The monster that had haunted my nightmares for 3 years was finally caged. Outside the courthouse, Senator Morrison held another press conference. This time, 11 women stood with her. 11 women Tyler had hurt. 11 voices that had been silenced but were now heard. Today, justice was served, Senator Morrison said. But our work isn't finished. The Blackwood family represents a larger problem. Systems that protect abusers, wealth and power that shield predators from consequences. We will continue fighting until every victim is heard, every abuser is held accountable, and every survivor knows they are not alone. The reporters asked their questions. I answered some, but mostly I let the other women speak. They deserved their moment too. Dominic waited by his car, giving me space but making sure I knew he was there. Always there. When the conference ended, I walked to him. He opened his arms and I stepped into them, breathing in his familiar scent, expensive cologne and safety. How do you feel? He asked quietly. Free, I whispered. For the first time in 3 years, I feel free. He pulled back to look at me, his smile soft and genuine. Good. Because I have something to ask you, and I need you to feel free enough to say no if that's what you want. My heart raced. What is it? Move in with me. Not as someone I'm protecting. As someone I love. As my partner, my equal, he paused, seeming almost nervous. Sophie, these past 3 months have been the happiest of my life. Not because of business or success or power. Because every morning I wake up knowing you're safe. Knowing you're healing. Knowing I get to be part of your life. Tears welled in my eyes. Happy tears this time. I'm still broken sometimes, I said. I still have nightmares. I still flinch at unexpected noises. I'm not perfect. I don't want perfect, Dominic interrupted gently. I want you. Exactly as you are. Broken pieces, healing heart, incredible strength, and all. I kissed him. Right there on the courthouse steps with reporters still lingering and people watching. I kissed him like he was my anchor in a storm. My safe harbor. My home. Yes, I whispered against his lips. Yes to moving in. Yes to this. Yes to us. His smile was radiant. I love you, Sophie Laurent. I love you too, Dominic Sterling. We drove home together, not to his penthouse, but to the house he'd bought for us. Overlooking Lake Michigan, with gardens and windows everywhere. A place full of light instead of shadows. A place where I could heal. Where we could build something new together. That night, I stood on our balcony watching the sun set over the water. Dominic came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist, and I leaned back against his chest. Tell me what you're thinking, he murmured. I'm thinking about how different my life is now. 3 months ago, I was terrified. Hiding. Convinced I'd never escape. And now, I turned in his arms. Now I'm standing in a beautiful home with a man who loves me, and Tyler is in prison, and I have 11 new friends who understand what I survived. You did that, Dominic said firmly. Not me. You found the courage to speak up, to fight back, to refuse to be silenced. I just made sure you had support while you did. You did more than that. I touched his face. You showed me that power doesn't have to be cruel, that strong men can be gentle, that being protected doesn't mean being controlled. He kissed my forehead. You taught me something too, that all the money and influence in the world means nothing if I don't use it for something good. You made me better, Sophie. We stood there as the sky turned gold and pink, holding each other, both of us learning what it meant to love and be loved without fear. Later that night, my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but something made me answer. Sophie, a woman's voice, nervous. My name is Jennifer. I saw your press conference. And I need help. My boyfriend, he hurts me. And I don't know how to leave. I don't know who to trust. But I saw you, and I thought maybe. My heart broke and soared at the same time. Jennifer, I said gently, you called the right person. Hold on. I'm going to help you. I looked at Dominic. He was already pulling out his phone, already calling James, already mobilizing the resources that had saved my life. Because that's what we did now. We saved people. I'd started a foundation with Dominic's support, a place for women escaping abuse to find safety, legal help, counseling, and job training. We used his money and my experience to create what I desperately needed 3 years ago. As I talked Jennifer through her situation, promising her safety and support, I realized something profound. Tyler had tried to break me. He'd wanted to make me small and afraid and silent forever. Instead, he'd created someone who would spend the rest of her life making sure other women never felt as alone as I had. That was the real victory. Not Tyler in prison. Not the Blackwood firm's fall from grace. But this, me, using my pain to help others. Turning my worst experiences into someone else's lifeline. After I finished the call and made sure Jennifer would be picked up safely, I turned to Dominic. Thank you, I said simply. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible. For believing me when no one else did. For using your power to protect instead of hurt. For teaching me that love doesn't have to hurt. I smiled through tears. For everything. He pulled me close, and I felt his heart beating steady and strong against my cheek. You never have to thank me for loving you, he whispered. That's not a favor, Sophie. That's a privilege. We stood there in our home, holding each other, 2 broken people who'd found healing in the most unexpected place. And somewhere in Chicago, Tyler Blackwood sat in a prison cell, finally facing consequences. While I sat in freedom, finally learning to live. The bruises had faded. The fear was learning to let go. And the future stretched ahead, full of possibility. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. And it was beautiful. This is a story about power, how it can destroy and how it can protect, about the courage it takes to speak up, about the difference between control and care, and about learning that being saved doesn't make you weak. Sometimes it makes you strong enough to save others. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out. You deserve safety. You deserve support. You deserve to be heard. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799